Hello, and tonight we are going to be talking about CIA document RDP 96-00788 ROO 17002 10023-7, and it is entitled The Gateway Program. And I'm bringing this up because there has been a lot of online chatter about this recently, and I'm air quoting that, recently released CIA document where they purport that if you repeat the number 55515, it will help relieve physical pain. But we are going to dig into that and more tonight on Thursday Night Live. Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show tonight. So I would repeat that CIA document number, but it is way too long. But again, it is tied to the Gateway Program. And so what is in this document are a number of exercises and instructions for creating altered states of consciousness, out-of-body experiences, remote viewing, and hemisphere syncing of your brain. I can't say that word right in this moment. And so this document was part of the CIA's arsenal, and it was used for projects like Project Stargate, which was their remote viewing program. The contents of this document bring up things, and I'm going to read parts of it to you. Bring up things like how to breathe, breathing techniques, energy tools, and remote viewing exercises. It was first classified by the government in 1977, and why I air quoted the release date that it was recent, but upon research, I discovered that it was actually released in 2003. And it's interesting, and I don't really understand this part, but it was classified by the CIA because they were researching into psychic phenomena. And so they used it for intelligence purposes. And it was released because none of the documentation that was tied to what they used it for, or the Stargate program, or any other alternate states of consciousness programs they use it for, were never released, but this document was released. Interestingly, the program was developed by the Monroe Institute and was purchased by and classified by the CIA. And in a very weird state of events, the same document was also available to the public for use. So I don't know how the CIA could classify a document that was still readily available to the public, but apparently that's a fact. And so, again, at that point in time, they were really interested in remote viewing. And in the 70s, there was a lot of other programs and other material that was coming out about altered states of consciousness, psychic abilities, remote viewing, including like the Seth materials, the Silva method, this Gateway program. The Monroe Institute, one of the things they're famous for is working with people in order to achieve out-of-body experiences. That's what I know them for. And also during that time was when my alma mater, the Berkeley Psychic Institute, came into being. And so I'm going to talk about the document. I'm going to read some quotes from the document, but I want to just touch on the concept of remote viewing. And so remote viewing is where someone goes into a semi-trance state and is given a target. And so they are not given like go look at this thing, like go spy on the Kremlin. They're given like a number thing, you know, like 61XB52. That's their target. And what that target is associated with, they're not giving information about. And so they're supposed to use their inner awareness to go to that location, whether it's about a person, a place, or a thing. Again, they don't have any information, and do an assessment. And so there are books available, you know, online, PDFs, free online, that actually teach you how to do remote viewing. And it is a very strict and stylized form of, I'm going to say, doing a psychic reading. So when I do my readings, they just kind of, they come out. Where with remote viewing, it's, well, where is your impression of this place? You know, what does it look like? Is it hard? Is it soft? Is it warm? Is it cold? You know, and they ask there's an outline, a very specific formula that you follow. And then the person you're working with takes these notes down. And so they usually don't come up with an answer like, oh, well, you're at the Kremlin, or you're talking about this person, but they will give a description so that, you know, or draw pictures or whatever, so that you get the answer. But again, it's very rigid. I think it does work. I think it can and does work if you are able to get into that place and access that information. So with that said, so I started reviewing this document, and it's literally 22 pages. And well, actually, I'm going to back up. You know, so what got me interested in this thing in the first place, because on X, there were people putting up, it's like, oh, well, you can reduce pain by repeating the number 55515. And I'm like, huh? I mean, like the number 55515 has any kind of significance to anything in the world. But if you take a step back, the technique of repeating a number, AKA repeating an affirmation, AKA taking your mind off of your pain and focusing it in on this number, could help to reduce pain. And so that was how I got into it, was because, I'm sorry, you know, we've talked about the law of attraction and people making vision boards about, oh, well, you know, if I make this vision board, these things are going to happen. Or if I do this, these things are going to happen. But they don't understand the underlying piece of it, where they need to own and believe and move out their own negative thinking, their own self-limiting thinking that is happening at the same time. Like, I want $1 million. I want $1 million. I want $1 million. So this is what your board is about. This is all what you want. But on the inside, you're going, I'm never going to get $1 million. Who's going to give me $1 million? How am I going to get $1 million? Which totally defeats the purpose of doing the exercise in the first place. You know, or you're not understanding the exercise. You need to get rid of that thinking in order for this thinking to work. And so that was where my brain was going. But then I very easily, well, not very easily, I had to actually use that CIA document number to find it, because if you look up the Gateway Project online, you don't find the document. But if you put that number in, it will come up. So I'm just going to read through some of the stuff. I mean, many of you have been listening to this show for a long time, and we've covered so many topics that some of this will just sound elementary to you, or you will recall me saying something about this at one point in time or another. And so it starts with a couple of affirmations. The first one is really long, so I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to read the second one. So this is the second affirmation. Sorry, putting glasses on. Okay. I open this channel of communication only to those whose wisdom, knowledge, development, and experience is equal or greater than my own. I restrict such contact and communication to constructive purposes and reject all others. I open such channel only when I consciously desire, and all other times it will remain closed. And it's like, oh, so you don't want to bring in any entities because you don't know what you're doing. So I found that one interesting. But this is how you start. As you start each exercise, this is what it tells you. Now, tell me if this doesn't sound familiar. Do your resonant breathing exercise. Inhale deeply. Pull in energy from all parts of your body up to and then into your head. Hold your breath for a comfortable length of time, eventually holding it to the count of 10, swirling the energy around in your brain. Then exhale slowly through your mouth as though you were slowly and easily blowing out a candle. At the same time, imagine that you're expelling stale state, used up energy through the bottoms of your feet. After the first inhale, exhale, your brain is filled with this new, fresh energy. And it goes on. But I'm like, okay, well, that's a pretty basic meditation technique. So, and it goes on and kind of gives tools on creating an energy toolbar that they utilize in some of their exercises to balance, cleanse, and recharge emotional body map. And it says, use bright purple energy from your EMB, and that is your energy toolbar that you created earlier, to charge any parts which are dim and flickering. Look for any parts which are unusually bright. Use the EBT and its purple healing, cleansing, and recharging energy to equalize and balance, making the EMB evenly bright, calm, strong, and serene. Okay, so if you do any kind of energy work, that's a pretty basic concept there. But then it goes on and it has like these images of like resonant breathing exercise, and it has like this stick guy. The pictures are terrible. How's that? The pictures are just terrible. Okay, but here, this is the part I was talking about. Okay, so to reduce pain signals, look with your closed eyes at the part of your body which is the source of pain signals. As you look, repeat in your mind the number 55515. When you do these two things, the pain signals will slowly reduce until they are no longer important. Okay, pregnant pause there. It's like, yeah, they're reducing because you're repeating the number 55515, focusing your energy, that one brain slot, to that number. And then it says to go into a normal, natural, restful sleep, lie down in a comfortable position, breathe deeply 5 times, and count from 1 to 20. Before you reach the count of 20, you will go into a normal, restful sleep. Okay. This is to reduce emotional charge. Close your eyes, inhale deeply, hold breath for a moment, then think of the calming, cleansing color green. So green is a healing color. When you do this, exhale slowly, and the green energy will push all the excess and harmful emotional charges down through your physical system and out through the soles of your feet. Okay. Maybe a little color therapy going on. And this is to charge your body for great speed and strength. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply. Think of the physical act to be performed and the strong energy of red. So red is energizing and energizing and activating. Okay, so so you're thinking of this strong energy of red. As you exhale, open your eyes and perform the act you wish to accomplish. It's like, okay, and then it has like more techniques and stuff. And I just found it really interesting that there are people that are going, oh, well, I should just say this number 55515, or I should. And then there's the other part. So there's the part that it's like, okay, you read this and you think it's going to work, but it's not really going to work because you're not really understanding the intention of it. But then there's the other part that I find the more annoying, like making me go, why did they classify this document? Because everything that they discuss in here are techniques that were well known in the 70s and ones that have been practiced for thousands of years. And I find it funny because every so often it's like, researchers have found, this document has found, and my knee-jerk response is, go to a metaphysical bookstore and you can find all kinds of material and all kinds of data related to this same exact topic that people have been writing on for years, possibly centuries, possibly for millennia. And you think you are creating this whole brand new thing. So again, why did the CIA classify this document? Because it's not saying anything that isn't out there readily available to anybody. Okay, hang on one sec. Okay, sorry about that. So how did you guys like Rayla McBride last week? Because I have another episode for you today. And I'm gonna drop it today. And please do go like him on YouTube. Excuse me. On YouTube, on Facebook, he has his own page, and on Twitter, except they're giving me a problem, but it's the Bark of Reason. And I would love for you to follow or subscribe or whatever, because, excuse me, because I already have 6 episodes in the can and a whole bunch of other stuff written up, ready to become videos. So here's Raylan McBride today.
You can't make this up. While living, breathing citizens are drowning under soaring inflation, the Federal Ledger reveals millions in educational credit lines have been handed out to dead people, pure phantoms. A new institutional audit exposed that administrative departments approved thousands of payouts to applicants who were already in the grave. They didn't verify the data, they didn't cross-check public records, they just left the vault wide open for bad actors to rob the taxpayer using the identities of the deceased. Think about the pure incompetence required to fund a ghost roster. This systemic laziness is actively inflating the public ledger, introduction synthetic capital for phantom students, while hardworking, deserving families are denied real relief. If the system can't even check a pulse before cutting a check, it isn't just broken, it's a crime scene. Demand accountability before your future is buried completely. Signing off, I'm Raylan McBride. This is the Bark of Reason. Stay sharp, stay free, stay cool.
And that's this week's episode of the Bark of Reason that I'm sharing with you. But you can see I've already dropped 4. There's another one that's dropping tomorrow. And you can catch all of them, again, on YouTube at the Bark of Reason, on Facebook at the Bark of Reason, and then I'm going to say on TikTok at the Bark of Reason. But that platform is giving me a little bit of a problem. But I hope that you follow and you enjoy the content because it's been really fun to create. So before we change and move on, I just want to remind people, if they would like to schedule a private consultation with me, please go to my webpage, soulhealer.com. Okay, skip the live part, soulhealer.com, and drop me a note and we can set up a time for a private consultation. If you are listening to the show on a platform like Rumble or BitChute or any alternative platforms that I post this on, but you want to join the chat, the best place to go is YouTube, and my channel on YouTube is Just Energy Radio on YouTube, and I hope to see you there and that you join the fun. Okay. Okay, so let me kind of change brains and move over to the second half of the show. And sorry about all that coughing. I was talking way too fast, which is always bad for me. Okay, so for anyone that's here, that's new, that would like to get a reading, here are the rules of engagement. If you'd like to get a reading, please just indicate in the chat and write something like, hey, Dr. Rita, your hair looks amazing. I would like to get a reading. And then provide me with a number between 1 and 3. And that will indicate how many times I will shuffle the cards on your behalf. Now, I can already see that there's like a whole list of people in here. And so if it seems like you're at the bottom of the list or you showed up late or whatever, you can go away. There we go. You can go to soulhealer.com/live and jump the line. And what that means is that if you use that option, I will get a notification. You'll hear a little ding in the background. I will get a notification. And if you are at the bottom of the line, you will become the next person to get a reading. Now, if you have a personal question, maybe you have a relationship question or a job question, or you're thinking about moving, you know, we all have different things going on in our lives and would like to ask a specific question. You can use the Ask Dr. Rita button on the soulhealer.com/live page. And that will also bump you in the line, but you could actually ask a specific question and not just get a general reading from the cards, which would be 1 through 3. And while you're there, or even while you're not there, if you want to leave me a little something, you can leave me a tip at that location as well. Okay, so let's see. So first up, we have Christine. She is number 1. And Christine says, hello, how are you doing? May I have a reading number 3, please? And thank you. And you sure can, Christine. Okay, Christine, that's your card for today. So, Christine, this is interesting. I am just sensing some grieving in your space, you know, that there's possibly been some loss or, you know, I don't want to say disappointment. That's not quite the right word. I like loss. I feel like you are trying to make sense of something, at the same time letting it go. I feel like you don't quite understand what is happening, and it's okay to not understand it, even though that can be a little emotionally challenging. You know, and I guess I just want to say, you know, this too shall pass. So, Christine, this too shall pass. And I hope that makes sense. And if it does and it's resonating with you, I'd love to hear your comments down at, you know, when you get a minute. Okay. Okay, so let's see who's next. That was Christine, and we have Unar. She says, good evening, Eve all. May I have a 2 tonight, Dr. Rita? Thank you. And you sure can, Unar. Okay, that's your card for today. Okay. So, Unar, I get the impression that there is like a new project, that there's something simmering in the background trying to get your attention. I feel like it has made itself known enough that there's awareness on your level, even though it's not being really super loud. I feel like every time it comes up for you, I'm going to say a certain amount of fear jumps in, like I'm going to cut my nose off in spite of my face. I'm almost feeling like it has to do with you coming out of the shadows and being more public. And I don't necessarily mean like a public personality per se, although that could be it, but it could be making your thoughts, ideas, and feelings known to your friends and family where you have chosen to hide them in the past. And so I just feel like there's just some fear there about, I'm going to say, exposing yourself to what they might have to say. But I feel like given enough time, this will boil up enough that you really will have no choice. So it's all good. It's all growth. It's all part of the process. All right. And we have Pearl. Hey, Pearl, welcome back. She says, happy Thursday, everyone. Dr. Rita with the lovely hair. Thank you, Pearl. May I have a reading with a shuffle 1? And you sure can. Okay, Pearl, and that's your card for today. Okay. All right, Pearl, let's see. So, Pearl, this is interesting. I'm feeling like you are feeling kind of content in the moment. I feel like you've had the opportunity to do some reflecting. I feel like there have been all of these things that you've done or accomplished or whatever, but that have been sitting out there, and you've taken a moment to acknowledge them and validate them and recognize them. Where in the past they have been kind of ignored. And I feel like as you sit and touch them and look at these things, because I feel like these are moments in your life that you're actually giving yourself the opportunity to bring in the energy and bring in the blessings of all of those moments. And I don't know, it's feeling really good to me. So I hope it's feeling as good to you as it's feeling good to me. So let me know what you think about that reading for today. All right, now we have ERRT Radio, and he says, happy Thursday, Dr. Rita. So sorry I missed last week, but I'm here now, and your hair looks amazing. Thank you. As always, I have a reading number 3. You sure can, ERRT Radio. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay, so ERRT Radio, I get the impression that you have come to realize, that sounds good, that the path that you're on the road that you have been traveling is not working for you 100%, or you're not getting the joy and satisfaction out of it that you've been hoping. I feel like there have been some new things that have come to the surface for you that are giving you more joy, or they seem to give you the impression that you will get joy out of them. And I want to agree with that assessment. I feel like, it's going to put you on a new road and start a new journey. They're kind of saying that it might be a little rough at first, but I feel like the joy and satisfaction that you will get out of it will make the effort in the beginning be worth it. Okay. Wonder what all's going on. So ERRT Radio says, yikes, I'd get lost on that number. It's huge. It's huge. And I had to like read it really slow. Okay, so Don's here and he says, well, Dr. Rita, here I am. Could I get a reading, a number one reading? We have the same color shirt on. So I have my Star Trek to bold. It's Van Gogh, and so it's to boldly go, like Van Gogh. I don't know. I think it's funny. I like it because it's Star Trek. All right, Donna, you just wanted a number one. Hey, Don, what do you got going on? Oops, I already turned you off. That's your card. Okay, interesting. So Don, I mean, I'm kind of reaching here for a second, but please let me know if this is correct. But is there someone around you that's not feeling well or is having some kind of health concerns going on? I feel like there's worry in your space, but I don't feel like the worry is you worrying about you. I feel like the worry is about someone else. You know, worry, concern. I like that word better, concern for somebody else. And just not really knowing what all the answers are. And Don, that isn't a very appropriate way to feel about somebody. And I want to just also validate that you're not going down the rabbit hole. I mean, you're concerned, but I'm not feeling this level of overwhelming concern, which is good. Yeah. Okay, let me know what you think. All right. And we have beautiful beauty. Hi, beautiful beauty. So if this is your first time here, you would like a reading, and it looks like we might have time because it's pretty early still. Give me a number between 1 and 3, and that's how many times I will shuffle the cards on your behalf. All right, and Yvonne is here. Hi, Yvonne. She says, hi, Dr. Rita, your hair looks amazing. Can I get a reading number 3? Thank you, and you sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay, so I'm not quite understanding the whole dynamic of what you're showing me, Yvonne, but I'm just getting this impression that there is something going on that is leading you, kind of suggesting, pushing to you, for you to go back to something that you did in your past, you know, or earlier in your life. And it's interesting because the impression I'm getting is like you'd rather burn in hell than have to go there again. But in the same breath, I feel like you're in a place where you really don't know where you're supposed to be going and where you're supposed to be being. You know, okay, and not that I'm any good at that at all, but you know, what I'm supposed to say is, and that's okay, because sometimes we have to just give our bodies a chance to rest, give our psyche a chance to rest, so that spirit can move through us. And, you know, not be concerned about, well, I have to be making forward movement, even if that forward movement is me walking straight into hell. Don't walk into hell, Yvonne. It's not worth it. It's not worth the aggravation. It's not worth the heartbreak. It's not worth the upset. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Okay, let's see. That was Yvonne. And it's Ohura. Hey, Miss Ohura. She says, hello, dear Dr. Rita. Good to see you and be in your presence. Nice lipstick. Thank you. May I have your wisdom revelation number 3? Please. Thank you. Indeed. Cheers to you. And you sure can, Ohura. Okay, and that's your card for today. So, Cora, there's what the card is showing me, and then there's what I'm just feeling about you. And I don't know, I'm just sensing this heaviness around you, and it feels more like a physical heaviness, like, the world is sitting on top of you. But it's interesting because inside the weight that you're experiencing, I just get the impression that there's this level of contentment. Not that you like it, but you're not fighting it. You're not complaining about it. You're just being with it. I don't really have any commentary about that heaviness. The bigger piece that they want me to communicate to you is about just being with it, because I feel like that's kind of a new dynamic for you. And a good dynamic for you, a good energy for you to just be and accepting and not saying, oh, well, I feel like the world is weighing on me and it should somehow be different. It's kind of, it's shifted to, well, the world's weighing on me and it hurts, but I'm okay. And I feel like you're feeling like I'm okay. And that's the part I want to validate. Please let me know if that makes sense. Okay. All right, let's see. Amy. Hey, Amy. It says, hi, Dr. Rita. May I have a reading number 2 tonight, please? Thank you. You sure can, Amy. Okay, so while you guys are hanging out here, have you gone to YouTube, to the Bark of Reason, or on Facebook and followed Raylan on the Bark of Reason? I'm just going to harp you guys for forever because I can't see who subscribes. All right, Amy, let's see what they have to say for you today. I don't like that cut. Amy, I'm going to shuffle them one more time because that didn't feel right. All right, that's better. Better. All right, and that's your card for today. I don't know, Amy. Maybe you need to go to Puerto Rico. Excuse me. It's like, I feel like you have been very committed to having and experiencing your Zen. I feel like you've really been working on nurturing yourself, but I feel like the world really isn't wanting to let you have that. I feel like it just keeps like knocking at the door and tapping on the window and trying to get your attention. It's not doing a great job. So, I mean, you've been doing pretty good about, honoring and nurturing yourself, but it's there. And I feel like it's annoying you to know that it's there because it's almost like you can't ignore it, even though you're keeping it at bay, but you can't ignore it. I don't know. And they're like, you need to just get out of town. You need to go do something different, because I feel like it's in the day-to-day that it's the most annoying part. And I think you understand what I'm saying. You know, Puerto Rico's nice this time of year, just before hurricane season. Okay, and then we have Marfel. I hope I'm saying that right. And I think you're a new name, so welcome to the show, and you sure can have a number 3 shuffle. You know, this was on the bottom of the deck, and I'm like, man, I'm hoping I don't get this card. Okay, so Marfel, this is called the mass card, and the mass card indicates where your energy is blocked or stuck, or there's a certain level of denial going on in your space. And I pull cards till I feel like the energy shifts or clears, and that's what I read, because that's the energy that's being blocked. Okay. And I'm just going with the next card. This is a good card. I felt like I either was going to go with this card or I was going to be digging deep. So I'm going to go with this one. Okay. So Marfel, the phrase that keeps coming to me is like, I want to be free. I feel like you just want to, you know, escape the matrix. And go over there. Maybe you and Amy need to like take off together, because I feel like she's kind of sitting in a similar energy. I feel like you want to do you in the way that you do you, without the programming and pressures that you are experiencing in your normal day-to-day life. And I feel like you haven't quite figured out how to bring that in into your daily life. And, you know, I'm going to respond that it's a process, you know, and as you sit there and become more adamant or more desirous of having that be who you are, then the negative and toxic people will start falling off. You will say no to toxic situations or negative situations, so that, and when I say a negative situation, meaning a situation that does not support you and your higher state of being, and does not respect you or honor you for who you are. To me, that would be considered a toxic situation. So as you sit there and hold that thought for yourself and want to move that forward, those other things will start to fall off, or you will decide you don't want to participate in those things anymore, and that will facilitate that change. So you're starting a new cycle. Good luck on that. I think it's going to be a really good one for you. Oh my God. Hey, Corey. Okay, so Corey, you didn't ever respond. Well, I don't know if you were on the text thing today, but what do you think of Raylan McBride, the Bark of Reason? And you better have freaking followed his page. Okay, and he says, I'm remote viewing an egg roll from Eng's restaurant. Well, okay. Well, I'm like digesting an egg roll from Eng's restaurant. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. And then Dawn says, I used to have a customer of mine working on her car that did that for the government. She was so weird when she would talk to me about her car or anything else, just weird. So was she able to diagnose your car or diagnose her car, even though she really didn't know anything about cars? Because it's possible. And anyway, like if I did remote viewing, Dom, were you thinking that I'm weird? Like, you're going to make me cry. You're going to make me cry. Okay, let's see. ERRT Radio says, I think the frequency sound would work a lot better. Okay, not sure what that is, but okay. And then, hi, Misty. Welcome to the show. I'm looking at the clock. If you would like to get a reading, I think I would have time for you. So leave me a number between 1 and 3 if you'd like for me to shuffle on your behalf. Same with you, Corey. Okay, Beautiful Beauty says, hi, Dr. Rita. I love your hair color. Thank you. 2-time shuffle. Sure can do. Okay, and that's your card for today. So Beautiful Beauty, and I'm just going to, based on what I'm seeing, make the assumption that there has been some negative, toxic stuff that has happened in your past that has been kind of formative to you. I feel like you are to a place in your life that you aren't doing that anymore. I feel like you have decided that you are going to love yourself. I get the impression that if anybody comes around with any kind of toxic stink, you're like, no thanks, no thanks. I feel like, your radar of anything that is not, this sounds so big-headed, but not to your benefit. You just steer clear of it because you don't want to have that or bring that into your life. And I just want to say good job and keep doing what you're doing because you're doing the right thing and you're really making a difference to yourself. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, look at that. I got like a little tippy tip, a little share the love from Miss Amy. So yay. I always love that. Okay, let's see. So Christine said, yes, my reading did resonate as I have a job coming to an end soon and just weird feelings from that and a few people. You're right, it shall pass. Okay, good. Pierre, hey Pierre, how are you? Glad you could come tonight. Then ERRT Radio says, right on, Dr. Rita. I'm finally getting to use my telescope. I have had for quite a while, but to do, I don't know, something about Minnesota weather, I was not able to use it. I was not much able to use it in Arizona weather. It is much nicer. So yay, very cool. And then he says the different things I have to learn to get it all right is huge challenge, but worth it. Excellent. Oh my God. And it's Chris who likes Raylan McBride. Thank you, Chris. Love you. And then Don says, yes, you're right. A distant family member may be ill. But not too much info on her. Okay. And I guess that's why there's not like this overwhelming concern, but there is concern. So, okay. Then Yvonne says, you're 100%. Thank you. Okay. Hey, Jan, how are you? She says, may I have a reading, please? Number 2. And thank you, sweet lady. Thank you, Jan. And you sure can. So let's see. Uh-oh. So Jan. So as I said before, these cards tend to show where there's something blocked or you're not looking at it or whatever. And okay. I'm going to go with this. Okay, so I'm giving you 3 cards, but they're kind of telling a story. So that's why I went with all 3. So I don't think I think the answer is layered, not the problem is layered. Sometimes when I do it, it's like problem, 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 another mask card, some more problems, and then the answer surfaces. And I feel like any of these could be an answer. But when I pulled this one and I was like, yeah, okay, but it wasn't really feeling conclusive. And this one wasn't really feeling final. And then this one felt final. So you're getting all three at once. Jan, I just am getting the impression that there is this uneasy feeling inside of you. I mean, it almost is coming up as like a nervous feeling inside of you. I feel like the way through it is for you to ground, for you to meditate, you know, whatever, do mindfulness, to get back in your body. I feel like you're not really grounded in your body, which is what's underlying the agitation. But I feel like once you get back in, you know, and it's interesting because it's like there's part of you that is not really wanting to get back in to your body. But once you get back in your body, then I feel like you will get the direction you're looking for, and then you will move forward into that space. And it's interesting because I feel like, you know, I don't know if you have like some physical issues going on that's creating some discomfort in your body. You know, I see that with some people where there's a physical issue going on, and so it's uncomfortable for them to bring their spirit into their physical body. And that's what it's seeming like to me, but you're not here, so I'm just kind of guessing here. You know, so if that is something that it is possible for you to do, then I would highly recommend it. If there's some physical pain that's going on for you, I know, say 55515 multiple times and it will make the pain go away. No, seriously, if there's a physical issue going on that's creating pain in your body, you know, maybe reach out to me at soulhealer.com and we can set up a time for an appointment, because maybe we can figure out a way to work around it, or a way to work through that physical discomfort so that you can get back on track. Okay? Alrighty, let's see. And then Pearl says, spot on reading, feeling a contentment that allows me to enjoy being alive. Well, you're so welcome, Pearl. And then Ahura says, you just nailed it. Absolutely just pictured where I am in my life, under the heaviness and hardship, yet content and grateful. And as you said, I'm okay with reality. No complaints. Many blessings to you. As always, Ahura, lovely to know you. And then Amy says, thank you, Dr. Rita. Been shutting people down pretty fast lately. Maybe a trip is in order. Heading to the tip jar. I love you, Amy. All right, and then Kali. I'm going to go with Kali. Your name is now Kali, even if it's not. And you're just in time because we are running out of time. And so, number 2. And welcome to the show, because I do not recognize your name either. And I hope you enjoy your reading, and I hope you come back week after week. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out a more delicate way of saying kind of what they're showing me, but I feel like you are a little bit challenged with some self-worth issues. I get the impression that when you look to go do things or want to go do things, that your own inner fear kind of gets in the way, like fear of failure. And so if I start something new, then it's not going to work out. And so then you don't start something new. And so then you don't really grow and move forward. But I feel like you want to grow and move forward. And I feel like it's almost like you're kind of not liking yourself. I mean, there, aside from the fear, but like who you are, and you want to become something new, become something different, but you're afraid to plant those seeds because your life experience has been, it won't work out. And I would like to say, but it will work out. Just one step at a time, one little act at a time, one phone call at a time, one book at a time, one project at a time. That will move all of that forward and help to build your self-confidence in yourself. Okay. All right, let's see. And then Dawn says, Dr. Rita, no, she don't know what was wrong with her car so much, but she did a few times try to tell me how to fix it. Yeah, I can see that. And then Jan says, yes, physical issues and emotional. I will reach out soon. Okay, that would be great, Jan, soulhealer.com. And then ERRT Radio says, great show and topic tonight, Rita. Your reading for me was right on. Thank you. Well, thank you, ERRT Radio. And on that note, I am going to say good night to you all. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will see you next week. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. And until then, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.